D.C., this 16-year-old insists she is white and doesn't care what you think. Treasure has explained to our producers that if you look around, white people don't have any problems whatsoever, and that's why she says her role models are Jennifer Aniston, Kim Kardashian, and Donald Trump. But Treasure's mother, Monique, claims her daughter not only has mixed up ideas about her identity, she is also blatantly racist and has even gotten kicked off of social media for posting support for the KKK. Now, Monique insists that she has never taught her daughter to hate her own race and wants to know why Treasure has talked about wanting to be white since she was 5 years old. Take a look.
People try to tell me I'm an African American, but that's not true. African Americans are loud, rude, obnoxious, and just altogether fat and ugly.
If you ask me, my 16-year-old daughter has a very out-of-control identity crisis. She truly believes she's white. When Treasure was 5 years old, I've noticed Treasure was having issues with her race. She wouldn't play with the black children. Treasure would mangle or destroy her black dolls. She would cut their heads off, pull off their arms. She would pretend that they were the white doll's slaves.
Well, my mom bought me beautiful white dolls instead of buying me the ugly, big-lipped black doll.
I felt mortified. I was a single mom trying to support a family. We couldn't afford to stay in our beautiful home. We moved from a mostly white, affluent neighborhood to the city, which was mostly African American.
From the suburbs to the hood. I was not anything like other black people. They were all hood rats and they were all ghetto. They all act like monkeys.
Her school was predominantly African American. She started to say very racist things in public, like, I hate black people's hair, they're dirty. She would call them the N-word.
It made me feel good to put down an African American person because it helps them stay in their place. All the African American kids that I was around were all ugly looking and losers. They're all gorillas.
My daughter is a racist against her own race. What I find the most disturbing is my daughter is consumed with the Ku Klux Klan. It just shakes me to my core. Treasure, have you ever reached out to the KKK?
I have their number on speed dial. Call KKK. They keep me current on updated events. I've had the KKK's number since I was in middle school.
Greetings from the loyal white knights of the Ku Klux Klan. Another chimp out, this time in Washington, D.C. 20-year-old silverback gorilla tried passing a parked bus, then struck it with her car.
I identify with the Ku Klux Klan because the way they believe is just so smart. White is right. White power.
To ask if you've ever gone to their website, that's me.
Oh, yeah,
you've done it. Yeah,
website.
I figured as much. Ooh, that's just awful.
Yeah, of course I've been to their website.
That's just awful. My daughter does spend a lot of time on social media. I don't even look at her Facebook page. It's too painful.
I don't care what other people think. I'm gonna do what I want.
As a parent, I kept expecting her to just outgrow it and thinking she would change. I pretty much was like an ostrich, put my head in the sand, and it's getting worse.
Okay, you're shocked by this, right?
Mortified.
And I want to tell you, I'm interested in doing this story because I think it's a teachable moment and not for sensationalistic shock value because of some of the outrageous things that she says. So I don't think she's doing them to get attention. I think she's doing them because this is how she actually feels and believes.
Yes.
Would you agree?
Yes, I do. She says she's white.
Right, from a very early age. Do you think she's delusional?
Without doubt.
I mean, so is she delusional in other areas or just this area?
Just this area.
Okay. Now, when she showed up the other day and she met one of our very able producers, which she discovered on meeting her, I guess she had talked to her on the phone, but on meeting her, that she was in fact black.
Yes.
She was very taken aback. Very awkward, reluctant to even shake her hand.
Wow, it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, well, this is Christian that she met and worked with here.
She says things like they should be in cages, they're monkeys, so her views are extreme, to say the least, and extremely offensive.
You have explained to Treasure in the past that she is not Caucasian.
Yes.
How does she respond when you tell her that?
She flew into a rage and told me I'm white.
Your husband passed away?
Yes.
And when was this?
In '06.
I'm very sorry for your loss, by the way. I know it's been a while, but it never gets easier.
No.
I know. And he was Caucasian, correct?
Yes.
And you allowed your children to believe that he was their biological father.
Yes, I did.
Why?
Because he was the only father figure that I had for my children.
When he passed, you decided to tell them the truth.
Yes. I wanted them to understand that they were African American, in fact, as opposed to thinking they were mixed race children.
Right.
And it wouldn't hurt anybody because my husband was no longer alive, so.
And they were in shock, right?
Yes, particularly Treasure. She took the information so hard.
You think that's a triggering event
yes,
here?
Yes.
She has full belief that she has a Caucasian father.
Right.
And so she associates that with a certain lifestyle and home and family. She loses him, and through financial necessities, you have to make changes as a single mother.
Right.
And you wind up in a different neighborhood, a different socioeconomic set of challenges, as many single mothers do.
Yes.
That she's blaming that change on this neighborhood, on the people that she's now associating with, and equates that with the change.
Culture shock. Like I said, she did believe that she was mixed, and she wasn't putting black people down when she was really little. Like I said, until she got to be about 5, and then she wouldn't play with black children. She would be insulting and say they were dirty, and she would only play with white kids.
Okay. And let me be very clear here. Very, very, very clear here. You're absolutely appalled at what she's saying and doing.
Devastated.
So this is something, you're not here to defend her, you're not here to justify her. You're here to get her some help and try to get some clarity about this.
Oh, yes.
I want to help her and get this straightened out.
That's why we're here.
And you believe that this is some kind of mental disorder, mental distortion that she's going through?
I feel that she has body dysmorphia. I feel that she thinks that she is a white person.
Mm-hmm.
With her being black and hating black people, it's devastating.
Yeah. Has she ever been to a KKK event?
No, but I'm sure it's her dream. She'd like a Make America Great hat if you guys could get her one. I'm sure she'd be thrilled.
Now, Monique's daughter, Treasure, is here, and we're going to meet her and find out why she says black people are ugly hood rats, and she wants nothing to do with them. Those are her words, not mine. We'll be right back.
The black people, I think they're all ugly, and I have nothing in common with them. I'm different from African Americans because I'm white. My nose is not giant as like African Americans. My lips are perfect. They're not too big. We're on 2 different levels. Like, okay, African Americans are here. I'm here. Everything I'm saying is true.
And later,
she has talked about having her skin bleed.
And if they're African Americans, they're uncivilized people.
I don't think she really identifies as Caucasian. I think she identifies as racist.
Tomorrow.
The yoga instructor accused of driving her
My daughter Treasure, she doesn't know anything about black history. She has a non-existent view of the plight and the sacrifices of African Americans.
I believe that we should not be celebrating Martin Luther King Day. I believe that he was just a token placed by black people to start controversy.
What I really want is for my daughter to be proud of her ethnicity. What I hope is that Dr. Phil can give her a wake-up call.
well, Monique says her now 16-year-old daughter, Treasure, has racist behavior and had it even as a child. But her behavior has worsened when they were forced to move from a predominantly Caucasian suburb into the city. That's when her daughter began bullying other African Americans just because of their race, no other reason.
I know a lot of people take issue with my beliefs. I'm white. I'm a Caucasian because Everything about me is different from an African American. I have naturally straight hair. My hair isn't nappy. It doesn't require weave. My nose is not giant as like African Americans. My lips are perfect. They're not too big and they're not too small. Like, they're just perfect. My ears, I don't have black people ears because they're really giant. Most African Americans speak ghetto. But when it comes to black people, I think they're all ugly and I have nothing in common with them. I'm different from African Americans because I'm white. My figure is just like Kim Kardashian, and she's a wonderful role model. I act and I think like a white person instead of a black person. I believe that I'm completely and utterly better than them. Like, we're on two different levels. Like, okay, African Americans are here, I'm here. White people act and think just way more mature than African Americans. Black people, they think in a criminal way. When I think about African Americans, I feel like asking them, what is wrong with them? They're really dangerous. If an African American is on the same street as I am, I'll cross the street to avoid their chaotic, thuggish ways.
Are you okay?
I'm irritated.
I'm sorry.
I just know that I'm white. I mean, she might not know that I'm white, but I know that I'm white. I can feel it through my veins. I feel it through my blood. I tell my mom I'll never be like any of those Negroes. My mom tries to criticize me about my supposed race. I tell her she's just ignorant. There's nothing wrong with my views or beliefs because I have freedom of speech and everything I'm saying is true.
Okay, Treasure, how are you this morning?
Pretty great. How are you?
I'm all right.
That's great.
Now, you've been listening to everything we've talked about so far,
Yes,
right?
I have.
And is there anything that your mom has said or told me about that's inaccurate, incomplete, or that you want to add something to?
Well, I mean, actually, yeah. You guys called me delusional earlier, and I feel like the only people
I did not call you delusional. I asked your mother if she thought you were delusional.
Yes, well, you asked her that question. I would like to clarify the fact that I am nowhere near delusional. I'm actually very capable and a very intelligent person, so.
Being delusional and being intelligent are not mutually exclusive.
Well, I feel like if you're being delusional, then you gotta be some type of retarded. And I'm not that.
Well, I have two things to say about that. Number one, that's absolutely just simply not the fact. And number two, using that word is very derogatory. So I'd appreciate it if you wouldn't use that word.
Yeah, well, okay, well, I'll understand, only because I'm a very respectful person. And if you wish that I don't use that word, then I most definitely won't use it.
Okay, appreciate that.
Okay, no problem.
When you say that you believe yourself to be Caucasian, tell me why you believe that to be true.
Well, I know I'm a Caucasian because when I wake up in the morning, I just have such a great life. And that my hair is so perfect, my skin isn't ugly, and I'm not fat also, which is also a really African-American thing. So, like, I'm just nowhere near like them. And plus, they're so thug and criminal that I can't relate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's just so riddled with ignorance, I don't even know how to respond.
Okay.
And I'm not saying it to be insulting. Ignorance doesn't mean lack of intelligence. It means lack of information. I think you're confusing the concept of race and ethnicity, because race is really biologically determined.
I know I'm biologically white. I feel it through my veins and through my blood. I don't just think I'm white. I know that I'm white.
And
there's no doubt in my mind.
Even though I have told you that your father was not your father and that you are actually African American?
You might be lying. I don't trust anything that anyone else says. I know that I'm white.
Ethnicity, on the other hand, has to do with whether or not you identify with a particular group in terms of their culture and practices, beliefs, religions, things that go along with that particular group. And that has nothing to do with race. Sometimes they can overlap, but not always.
Well, I feel like you're wrong. You're completely wrong. I know who I am, and I know my race, and I'm a proud white person. And there's nothing, I feel it through my veins, like it's literally in my blood. There's no way. I don't believe that I'm white. It's not my ethnicity.
Treasure, do you
it's my
accept
race.
the fact that I'm your mother, I'm your birth mother?
Who knows? You might be lying to me too. You never know.
Here are 3 pictures of Hollywood A-list actresses. 2 of the 3 Two of the three are...
She's really ugly. Halle Berry looks like a and I love Jennifer Aniston.
So that's your perception of what you're seeing?
Most definitely. Black people are really ugly, and I feel like everybody can have different perceptions.
Yeah. Well, Lupita was named the most beautiful woman in the world in 2014. Callie was named the most beautiful woman in the world in, I think, 2004. So there are an awful lot of people that disagree with you.
Well, of course. I mean, that's because they're trying to put them as a token. They want them to be, you know, the proud supporters of black people.
Okay. Treasure's brother Kendall is here and says it crushes him that his own sister is a racist and says hateful things against African Americans. We're going to meet him next, and I've got some very, I think, interesting questions about this brother-sister relationship. We'll be right back.
I hate to say Treasure's crazy, but she acts crazy. If you'd ask me, my sister is racist.
Black people are gang members. I don't nothing to do with them. They're criminal and they're thugs.
I wish I could feel as though she does this for attention, but this is just how she feels.
And later, if you disagree with what she's saying, stand up.
All of them are liars. All of them are liars.
My daughter Treasure is a very smart girl, except for this one flaw.
I want to go to college. I want to get married. I also want to marry a white man. I think Caucasian love is the best love in the world.
What my daughter needs to understand is if she has racist views like this, she's limiting herself.
I'm disgusted by people like Beyonce, Nicki Minaj, and Blac Chyna because they're absolutely gross. They're just so ignorant and ghetto. I aspire to be like Jennifer Aniston someday.
Going through an identity crisis like this is only going to cause her a lot of problems. She needs to address this now because it's only going to be catastrophic if it continues.
Well, Monique says she has no clue as to why her 16-year-old daughter, Treasure, began identifying as a Caucasian, let alone having racist views against other African Americans other than the death of her father, who was a Caucasian, and her learning at the time that he, in fact, was not her biological father, and there were changes in their lifestyle at that point, and either cause or correlation, it occurred at about that time when you started seeing this, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And both she and her son, Kendall, say it is extremely painful and embarrassing to be somewhere in public and hear Treasure make disrespectful remarks to someone just because they're black. Take a look.
The problem with my sister Treasure is that she feels like she's white. My sister isn't white. My sister's African American.
Black people are gang members. I don't nothing to do with them. They're criminal and they're thugs.
I hate to say Treasure's crazy, but she acts crazy. If you'd ask me, my sister is racist. She says very hurtful and insulting things to African Americans in public. If an African American walks past us, she'll say things like, she's a gorilla, hood rat, or dark-skinned girls are so ugly. When she says things like that, I feel offended.
I said black people are pigs.
Oh. She just does not care, and she doesn't, I don't think she thinks of black people as human. I wish I could feel as though she does this for attention, but it's just how she feels. I feel like my sister Treasure needs to face reality, and I encourage Treasure to use her intelligence to move us all forward instead of bringing us down. When it comes to hate, I feel like Treasure should be part of the solution and not part of the disease.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. You absolutely do not endorse your sister's beliefs, the statements that she's making, or anything of the sort.
Not at all. I think it's disgusting.
Okay. So, here's a question. You say that you think all African Americans are disgusting and thuggish and ugly and all these negative things. Do you feel that way about your brother?
Well, actually, I put my family on a higher level than I put African Americans because they're so low that I would never put my family there. Like, I would never want them to actually be on the same level as African Americans.
But your mother's African American.
Well, I mean, supposedly. But, you know, I'm not going to put her on the African American level. I don't know, because then I will treat them like
Are you African American?
Yes, I am proud.
Are you African American?
I am 100% African American.
So, when you lump them all together, they're telling you straight up they're African Americans. So,
I mean, if they're African Americans, they're uncivilized people.
So you're saying your brother is uncivilized?
They deserve to be in jail. I mean, if they want to be African American, then that's where they go. You know, that's what African American people do. They go to jail.
Do you hear the things that's coming out of your mouth right now?
Of course.
Do you actually, like you say you have perfect ears, do they work?
It's not that you identify ethnicity-wise with a Caucasian group. That's your choice. What's offensive to me is why you would be such a racist about it. Because let me tell you, if you want to identify with the Caucasian group, of which I'm a member, you are not welcome. Let me tell you. Because you are saying ugly, hateful, disgusting things about decent, caring, loving human beings. And I just find that I find that, and you are so ill-informed. You say, like, you know, the prisons are full.
Have you looked at the statistics? Have you looked at the statistics?
Yes, I have.
Okay, well, then you should know that African Americans are the most incarcerated people out here.
Oh, really?
So, yes. Okay,
well, let's actually talk about that, because according to the Federal Bureau of Prisons, the prison population is 37.9% black and 58.2% white.
Well, you're not looking at factual information.
That's August 2018.
Well, then you're not looking at factual information.
I am looking at factual information, and the fact that you declare it not, the fact that you declare it not factual is just simply wrong. You don't know what you're talking about.
I know exactly what I'm talking about. I know that black people are criminals.
And you talk about blacks being thuggy and criminal. Have you ever read anything about the Aryan Brotherhood?
I mean,
How do you think it would go if you showed up at a KKK rally?
I mean, I'll tell them I'm one of them. They would be like, okay, hand me a robe.
She has talked about having her skin bleached.
Yeah, like Michael Jackson. I support that. Like, I feel like if I had the choice, I most definitely would make a white transition. Because being black is just so gross and ugly. I don't want to be that.
I thought you were Caucasian.
Oh, no, I mean, my skin is a darker toned. I don't like that. It's not cute.
I don't think she really identifies as Caucasian. I think she identifies as racist.
Well, I decided to do a little exercise with Treasure while she was in Los Angeles. We'll see how her assignment went when we come back.
When it comes to running the country, my daughter has very strong views.
I'm a huge fan of Donald Trump. I believe that Donald Trump is one of the best presidents we've ever had. And he's this absolute genius.
When it comes to President Obama, she thinks he's done nothing for this country.
I believe that Obama did nothing for all people.
When it comes to President Obama, she was critical of every move he made. And I feel that she supports Trump solely because he's white, not because of his policies.
Since it was Treasure's first time in L.A., we gave her a tour of different parts of this diverse city to record her natural reaction to her environment.
I'm in Beverly Hills right now. I'm seeing a lot of Caucasian people, and I haven't seen, I've seen only a gaggle of African Americans, and they were really gross. Look at that! It has like a Gucci design and everything. And they have a Chanel. I think I'm gonna die. I think that, of course, if an African American walked into any of these stores, I feel like people have the right to refuse service, and I feel like they would probably steal something, so of course they should be asked to leave, most definitely. Well, those were my fellow Caucasian people. They were so beautiful and pretty. I assumed they were models, so I had to say, tell them they were beautiful. Well, I'm just living my best life out here on Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills, and I just feel like I belong here, most definitely. The place I'm in, it just takes my breath away. We haven't seen literally any African Americans here, which is such a positive, good thing.
My ideal place to live actually would be like right here where the homes are giant. There's really nice families. Oh, see, there's like a little boy just playing Frisbee and stuff. Well, all the people here are Caucasian, so that's probably the reason why I most likely would fit in here the most, because, you know, I also am a Caucasian person, and this is where I belong. This environment reminds me of the ghetto. This environment reminds me of the hood. So as you can see, her hair literally looks like it's a sponge. If you put your hands in her hair, you probably lose a finger. The smell is just like so overwhelming, like I just want to die. And it's way too many African Americans. That's probably some of the reasons why it smells. There's dog right there. Like there's actual dog right there. Like someone really needs to clean up. All these people look like pickpocketers, like they all just look like they're gonna steal from you. African Americans are more known to actually commit crimes than Caucasian people, so, I mean, you never know with them. They have giant lips. Their noses are really, really big, and they're just, like, really ghetto. It's, like, completely disgusting how ghetto they are, like, honestly. Like, where do they come from? That's the reason why they're called monkeys in the first place, because they don't know how to act. I could never live in this filth and among all of these African Americans and among all of these people who clearly have absolutely no class. African Americans just, they ruin everything good.
Does it?
There's something not all there. Does she know that it's on site if, well, it's not just a Beehive member, it's everyone who wants to see her. Does your brother speak bad about it on Insta? My brother doesn't really have an Instagram. Not that I know of. Well, he does. He does, actually. But he don't really post, or I don't really follow him. She's looking for a come up yet. But she's not going to do it off disgracing my father's name, who I was more... No, it was not real. So your mother... They're all doing it because they wanted an all-expense paid trip to California. Tomorrow, right now CPS is closed, but tomorrow I'll be calling them, giving them all of her information. Honestly, I could put Treasure's all of her information out there, but that's a scary thing to do because they're now people who want to kill my sister, and she just does not come. Where y'all mom? My mom's, where y'all from? Oh, I'm from Detroit. Thank you for exposing her. You're welcome. I am fully for Black beauty and showcasing, and I feel like what she's doing is just, it needs to be stopped immediately. So it's like, she's doing it on like something that I'm very active on. Nobody wants to kill your sister. They're all taught. You can't trust today's day and age. You cannot trust it. Why would you kill your sister? I have, keep in mind, 6 of us all together. Well, 7 of us. 6 of us are still on this planet. One of my brothers killed himself. My older brother is slow. He's really not on social media like that. My other sister, she's really smart. She's younger than me. She's not really into all this drama. And Kendall and Treasure are together. And then my other brother, he's just a baby. So it's like he doesn't care. She's only 6, but he's going through his own thing. So she's only 16. What did she do? Has she grew out to become a bad person? My mom stopped taking care of her. My mom stopped taking care of her. And she kind of had to fend for herself out in the streets and out in the ghettos. And her job was going from door to door. Can you cousin what happened? Like the real story, please. What? Well, one of her jobs was when my mom stopped taking care of, she would go to door pretending like she was a part of a church and asking people to donate to her church, and she didn't even go to church. Can you explain the real story? I'm late. I'm 25. Does Treasure and her mom have a good relationship? No. My mom doesn't have a good relationship with any of her children. Before we were all born, my mom got married to William Richards, who's my father, who is the guy in the video who's a white man. So what are they saying? Okay. She married him and then had a whole bunch of kids and was cheating on him. He was an older guy. She was cheating on him. She had 6 kids and basically 5 different baby daddies. And he was older and he just wanted a family. So he kind of like, it was kind of like an unspoken thing that she had boyfriends and stuff like that. It was kind of like an unspoken thing. So, but she was living a good life. We were all really blessed, and Daddy loved, and he accepted us for who we are, and he took really, really good care of us. And I was really close with my father, and I do not consider him my stepdad. He raised me. He signed all of our birth certificates. He loved children. He loved babies. He was such a good person, and he does not deserve to be treated so bad. Well, they say my mom would tell my brother Wesley, who committed suicide, that that was his real father. But we also have other family members who were kind of pale looking. They were black, but they were really, really fair. And then somebody told him that those were his people, and that, you know, a man from that side of the family was his father. And yeah, so it really kind of, my mom had a lot of kids, but a lot of different people. I don't know if, like, Wesley was biological his father, but from what we've been told by our mother, that was only Wesley's real dad. But I always considered him my real dad too. So where's Treasure now? Treasure is, I know exactly where she is, but I'm not going to put that out there because I don't want people to hurt her. Your sister got, I don't know what that means. Attention. She came up with that idea. Where do you think Treasure's behavior come from? From the neglect of my mom? Honestly, there's always something wrong. There's something wrong with all my mom's kids. Even me, but now it's like I'm healing. There's something wrong with all of us. But it's because the way we were treated and abused. And it's like because the abuse and the neglect, we all couldn't comprehend it because this was our real mom. So it's like we all kind of coped and acted out in our own way. Like with me, I turned to a lifestyle of pain and darkness, and, you know, I'll be like completely honest. I was a stripper. I was really into like doing dirt in the strip club, and I was, you know, I didn't have a lot of self-value.
Watching your white queen, Treasure. Hello, everyone. Today, we're going to talk about something that makes me really sad. I'm going to try not to cry because I've already done that and I don't want to cry again. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize who I was hurting. I need everyone to just accept my apology right now. I didn't realize who I was hurting. I'm so sorry, midget. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize that you guys did not have the same amount of meat brain as us. I had no fucking clue. Literally no idea. And I'm just so sorry. Like, you guys don't even understand. I've never felt so bad a day in my life. I did not mean to marginalize this group. I didn't mean to hurt this group because I know what they're going through. They're going through a lot. They're going through a lot of injustices in their life, and I had no clue. I had no clue I was hurting them, and I did not mean to be one of the people who said. A lot of weird stuff starts to happen to me. Recently, I think it was this Sunday, I went to church, a local church in my neighborhood, because I was seeking for Jesus to speak to me, because, you know, whenever I want to go speak to Jesus, either I go to church or I go to sleep, either one. And usually God comes to me. So I went to the church, and I sat down, service was beginning to start, you know, the preacher was preaching bullshit, preaching. Of course, he was just preaching, you know, telling people that they're going to go to hell and telling me I'm not going to go to hell. And then I was just sitting there like, bitch, I know. I'm God. The fuck? But anyway, so he was like basically, you know, doing his whole thing, you know, reading out the Bible, screaming at people, talking about how we're all going to die. But so while I was in church, I had realized that my skin was like turning like orangish. And my skin was just turning like orange, and it started to like itch and like burn. I've never felt that sensation before. It was like really, really weird. Like, imagine how it feels to have your whole body put in like a heater. It was incredibly strange, and I've never felt anything like that before. So I was just sitting there, and I'm like, why the fuck is my skin burning? Like, I'm just trying to praise Jesus and go home. And then my pastor was like, okay, everyone, it's time for communion. And I was like, oh, hell no. You know, like, oh no, it's just, I could tell that it was just going to get worse and worse and worse from there. So the deacon had handed me the, you know, cup of wine in it, and, you know, the cracker thing that's supposed to be God's body. And I was going to, like, you know, drink it. Well, the pastor was like, drink. I went to drink it, and it spilled all over me. Like, it was disgusting. I couldn't believe it. So technically I had the body of Jesus spilled all over me. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? It was like so weird. It felt like somebody like knocked it out my hand. It was just like, don't drink that. So it was just really weird, and I couldn't, you know, come to like a reasonable conclusion of why that happened to me. I just had, you know, wine and all over my body, and I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna eat the cracker, because if you don't have the wine, the cracker doesn't taste right. My last video, my anorexia video, me speaking about my problems and being open with my audience and my fans. If you're not my fans, get the fuck off my channel. Like, what the fuck? Why are you here? But so they had actually commented that I was at a George Floyd protest. Do you know how retarded that is? Bunny. I have a bunny now. Do you understand what the fuck? What? Are you stupid? I just want to address this really quick, and then I'm going to move on to the video's topic. But you guys comment shit on my shit like y'all know me, and you guys do not know me. I've never been to any of those fucking protests. Would I go? No. Why would I? I don't understand why the fuck people comment shit on my shit like they genuinely know me, and they don't. Like, you don't know me. You've never seen me before. You've never met me. Admit it, it's true. Even if you have even if you don't like it, you know, that's still my opinion. So I just think it's not cool when, you know, like, when people actually go out into the streets and do these things. Now, if you don't like black people, that's okay. Like, I feel like that's cool. That's okay. But you just cannot be out here just killing them. That's not something I'm advocating. I'm not cool with that, you know, and a lot of people probably would assume that I am, but I'm not. I do not believe that all police are out here killing black people, though, and I will say that personally. Do you guys know how many white people are getting killed by the police on a day-to-day, and it's not being reported on because it's not controversial? It's not an African American, you know? And I don't in my air quotes, but it's just like, it's crazy, because I just feel like since it's not as controversial as African American people getting killed by the police, then it's not that serious. Since it's like, you know, white on white crime, it's not that serious. But I don't care. I'm just getting this out there so I can get it out there, because a lot of people are just fucking irritating me on the interwebs, and I just want to post this so I can get it over with, you know. But at the end of the day, if you feel like you're getting racially profiled, maybe you should start doing stuff differently. And I know a lot of people be like, oh my gosh, doing stuff differently, why would I have to do anything differently? White people are allowed to live their lives every day however they want to. White people present themselves in a way that makes sure the police aren't going to attack them. And I'm not trying to say, I'm not blaming anyone, because at the end of the day, I still believe that you shouldn't get shot over certain things. But I feel like if you do press the police, you might end up with a bullet hole. And that's the truth. And you might end up going to state for your funeral and everybody being, but even people looting and everything like that, it's just fucking retarded. It's just stupid.